This is madness.
Welcome back to the Angry Ewok channel. Today we want to discuss different things that you can do in the movement phase to try to control the game and try to control where your opponent can place models and how he can shoot your units. This is kind of coming mostly from Operative Vader, the new IDN Verso, the new Cassian Andor models that are hitting the field. A lot of them can infiltrate. We've seen infiltrate before, but this is a new round of infiltrating units, and we wanted to remind everybody of some of the things that you can do to prevent people from infiltrating into bad positions. Pre-game, when you deploy your units, they can't be deployed beyond the deployment line. For example, I cannot cohere my models, even though my unit leader's here behind my deployment line, I can't cohere forward past him like I would normally do. But once you put the models on the table, all that's out the window. If you have some kind of ability that lets you move after you deploy, recon intel, it could be scouting party for clones with Rex, any kind of advanced positions, movements, they can be used to create bubbles where infiltrators cannot be placed. They can be used to spread out and create bubbles where rapid reinforcement units cannot be placed. And I see a lot of times people will do, like in this example, if Rex has done his scouting move, then this unit could be used to take the scouting party movement. So you can move your unit leader like you normally do, and then you see people bunch all their models up behind it. And that's fine. You're getting a forward movement, but you're not maximizing the amount of board space that you can use. Sometimes it's to your advantage to throw your models forward to create a larger bubble of denial. Especially if you're trying to deny some sort of middle line of sight blocker from your opponent. Spreading out like this, instead of creating a distance 3 bubble from the unit leader, you're creating a distance 3 plus a range 1 bubble in 2 directions, and you're pushing them out even farther. I don't see this used nearly enough, and I think that in a lot of cases it's a really good, really strong tool. Now, there are downsides to slinging your unit forward like this, and we'll discuss those later. But just remember, this is an option, especially if you're trying to keep somebody from infiltrating onto a box, trying to get to a bad position that you can't remove them from, especially with things like Vader, who goes down last with Descent of Darkness. You can do your entire deployment before he gets placed. So you're not in danger of him getting deployed early and getting into position. With other infiltrators, you might want to try to get your scout units to go quickly in the deployment so that you can project them outwards. But especially in the case of Vader, because he gets dropped last, you have plenty of time to get your units into position to push him out. There's not really a good reason for Vader to get an easy drop on you, especially if you have scouting units pre-game. So, the biggest mistake that we see with unit coherency is letting models get closer to the enemy than the unit leader. And that's a problem because it allows them to be hit before your unit can shoot back. Because in Legion, all weapon attack ranges are measured from the unit leader and the unit leader only. So, to illustrate that point, we got a clone phase 1 unit. Most of their weapons are range 3. So to shoot at their best range, they need to be at range 3. They don't need to be any closer than range 3. So we're going to use some precision here to try to shoot this fleet trooper unit, shore trooper unit without allowing them to shoot us back. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to move. And when we move, we can move, distance 2 if we want to, and get really close, and this won't be a factor. But what I want to do is to approach to where I am within my range 3 of just the closest model. So this happens to not be the unit leader, which is the mistake that we're emphasizing here. And the reason for that is that you're moving up just enough to get the shot, cohere your models forward, you'll take the shot. You may do a lot of damage, you may do a little damage. That's not the point. The point is, as long as you hit them, this unit's going to take a suppression. So when they take a suppression, when it's their turn to go, if they don't have strict orders, or they're out of range, or they have more, if they get suppressed, they can either move to try to get into range 3 to fire their weapons at optimal range, or they can sit still and only fire their range 4 gun, but they're not in a position to move and fire. If the unit leader were the closest model to the enemy unit, like it should be, then you'd have a scenario where if I can shoot you, you can shoot me, back and forth. And even if this unit got hit before it was activated and got suppressed, it could still retaliate with its best dice pool, with its most effective set of dice. That's not the case because whoever placed this was a little sloppy and let these two models get a little forward, and then this unit got the jump on it and denied it its second action by putting on suppression. We want to make the point that sometimes there are good reasons to cohere your models past the unit leader, even after deployment, when you're not trying to box out a rapid reinforcement or not trying to box out an infiltrate. There's good, legitimate reasons to do that, and you just have to use them wisely. And we're not going to go into all the scenarios, but this is one of the most common ways to do it. We're back to our shore trooper versus phase 1 fight, and the phase 1s are going again. So we'll say that they're suppressed, they can only take one action. They really want to move up and they want to get into cover. So they can move, the unit leader will go to here. Now, if we did, like we just told you in the last video, and cohere, the last segment, and cohere behind the unit leader, they're sitting out of cover. Now, obviously you can cohere forward to sling a lot of these models forward into cover like this. What you do now is when this shore trooper unit attacks, you're going to get your hard covered. Now, we broke our rule, but it's not nearly as bad in this scenario for 2 reasons. First of all, we're getting heavy cover instead of getting no cover. That's super good. 2, we are close enough that it's going to be really hard for this shore trooper unit to abuse the I'm only in range of your lead models but not in range of your unit leader situation. In order to do that, in order to create that scenario again, this shore trooper unit is going to actually have to back up to where it's outside of range of the unit leader but inside of range of one of these models. And they're probably not going to do that. They're probably not going to take themselves out of cover or move away. And if they're suppressed, they're definitely not going to do that. They're just going to stand and fire. So as you get closer and closer and closer to each other, this whole nipping shots on models that are beyond the unit leader is not nearly as effective. So this is a great example of when you'd want to sling your models forward, and that's okay. We got one more example we'll come back with in the next video. So we're going to break our rule once again. And again, all of these have to be taken with a grain of salt. This is a situationally useful tactic that has, downsides, but we just want to show it to you. Sometimes you really, really need to get a shot on a unit to knock out the last model in a unit, to knock somebody off a box, to put a suppression on that's going to make them flee off the board. So there are times when you break the rules of keeping all your models behind your unit leader. This is a good example of that. So clone phase 1s are added again. They're going to move. That's as far as he can go. He can't get any farther. And if you get down here and look, he can't see anything in that shore trooper unit. That sucks because I'm not shooting him right now. But what you can do is you can cohere past your unit leader once again. So these guys can be placed here. This is a perfectly legal placement. Now, what this does is range and cover is determined from the unit leader, but who gets to shoot at the target is determined on a model by model basis. So you check your range and your cover, and since your unit leader can't see, it's going to give heavy cover, but at least you're shooting, you have a chance to roll in crits, you're trying to get that suppression on, you're trying to get this person to drop a box, whatever you want to do. And then you look and see which models in my unit can fire. And in this case, these 4 can fire, unit leader cannot. So then you'll roll your attack. They'll get their heavy cover, but you're attacking that unit. This is maybe a Hail Mary play, but attacking is better than not attacking sometimes. Just wanted to point that out. This is another use of coherency to get shots where you wouldn't normally get shots.